Hello, hello. We have a
Hello.
special guest again. It's like you're not even a special guest anymore. You're very special and we love having you. But we are joined today by Tara because Tanya is out, obviously doing something to save the world yet again, as she does. If you're just joining us, make sure, if you're on YouTube, to hit that like, subscribe, and leave us some comments. And if you are listening on your audio platforms, make sure that you leave us a really good rating. We always appreciate it.
Or a
Tara,
Spotify comment. You
I don't know
could
how to get
comment.
those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's true. I guess it just shows you on the podcasters app. I'm
Hmm.
hella cheap. I don't be paying for things. I'm like, there's a free option. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, for Spotify, there's like a Spotify for podcasters, and I downloaded it, but I don't know how to use it because we use Buzzsprout. So basically, and this is for anybody who wants to start a podcast, do it. Not men, y'all take the mics from yourselves, but women and like gender nonconforming people. Anytime you want to start a podcast, hit us up because I would love to show you how. And it's really
Mhm.
easy. You just do Buzzsprout and then you can Buzzsprout will help you get listed everywhere, so you can connect your podcast to other things. So if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that sometimes I'll post up like a clip. I just cut it right on Buzzsprout. It's very, very easy. I think all women and gender nonconforming people, grab a mic, talk. Men, put the mic up. We've had enough of it.
And if you are strapped for cash and you're like, I cannot afford to start a podcast, there are free options.
Hmm.
I think if you start your podcast on podcasters, because it used to be something called Anchor, and
Right.
then Spotify bought it and they just decided to keep it free. So I think, like, yeah, that is an option. It is more limited. When you can record directly onto the podcasters app, but when I do that, I am limited to 1 hour. It will not record you past an hour, and so
Oh.
that is a limitation. If you record it, it's crazier because I haven't tried it on my computer. I usually do it directly on my phone.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm that messy person. That's why it's a chaos podcast. But if you do it on the computer with Anchor, last time I tried it, you only got 30 minutes. So it's very limited for the
30
free options.
minutes.
But I know, especially with me, like, no, never.
I feel like me and Tanya just be talking about the other shows we watch for 30 minutes. Well, and I know that you are recording Port Misery after this.
Mhm.
So, shout out to Port Misery always.
I
And make
know.
sure that you listen. And you might hear a little bit of double, and that's okay.
That's fine. You most likely will hear double. Um, but yeah.
How was your week?
It was good. I had to grade midterms and I could not utilize the 2 weeks because Thanksgiving is coming and I wanted a break. So I was adulting at the highest level and I graded them. I got them passed back and now I can enjoy my week. I watched The Crown season 6, part 1.
You mean Charles Propaganda?
My God, I knew they were going to go out with a bang, but I mean, the show is fiction. It's always been fictionalized. There's no way to know almost
Right.
80% of what was shown that
Sure.
season. Private conversations, all sorts of stuff. But it was just wild, the choices that were made. Like, I really do want to believe that, like, Charles was wailing in the Highlands of Scotland over the wife he called his enemy and said he was at war with the last 3 episodes. It was amazing. I was like, this is
So
great.
we could turn this into a Crown podcast, and I wouldn't be mad about it. But we're not. But I will say this. So one, watch The Crown. But I've been
Yeah.
watching since the first season. And so, if you don't watch it, they change the cast every 2 seasons. And so like take you throughout history. So this season is really dealing with Diana's death. So like last season, we had like you met Diana, like adult Diana, grown Diana. You did like the interview for the BBC, like all of that stuff. Um, but when I tell you season 3 and 4 Charles was that Charles. Every Charles who has been cast has been too handsome to play Charles, 100%. But season 3 and 4 Charles, that actor is actually I remember listening to an interview with him. He's like, I'm a Republican. I was like, a Republican? And I had to like look up what Republican meant in that context. So he's like anti-monarchy. And
Yeah,
so
he
he
wants
lets
it
you
to be a
know that Charles
yeah.
is a
For
piece
those
of
of you
shit.
who don't know, we are a republic here in the United States. France is a republic. We do not have a monarchy.
Mm-hmm.
We have a government that is supposedly run by the people, not by nobility.
Not gonna get
Um,
into it, but not even
I'm
gonna get into
teaching
it.
this right now. It's crazy. This would so quickly stop being a GH podcast immediately. If we got into it.
But
I
my tie-in though is that it really does, because we talk all the time on this show about like who has control over the scripts and like how you show up as an actor when you believe certain things about your character and how that like impacts your performance. And so it's really clear that Josh O'Connor, who played Charles in season 3 and 4, just like thought Charles was a piece of shit. Like he was like, he had moments where he like infused a little bit of humanity in him, but when he got around Diana, he was like, I want you to know this man is a monster. And now, right now, what we're seeing is like a Charles who is like trying to put like infuse empathy into his character. And I think that to make the bridge connection, I think we see that in GH all the time when you look and you see who are the villains who are like, I'm a villain. So Cyrus, he knows what's up. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Versus people who are like, I want you to like my character despite them not doing much that is likable. So that's what I found to be really interesting about The Crown this season. The rehabbing of
Yeah.
Charles.
So funny. The ghosts. There's ghosts. Spoiler alert, there's ghosts this season.
I'll have
Um,
to, maybe we'll like record like a special episode in a couple of weeks or something that's just about The Crown, because we can also infuse a little bit of like talking about Harry's book and all of that. I would love.
oh, we could do that. Let's wait until the second part comes out and then we could do the whole series. Because that's the
Let's
thing.
do it.
One of the Peter Morgan is the creator of The Crown, and he's made several things about the royal family, most famously The Queen, which
Mm-hmm.
deals with the part of time that season 6, part one's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
That like Diana's death aftermath. And he is a royalist. Like there's this and this is the last we'll talk about it. The episode where they dealt with the two photographers, the Italian guy
Mm-hmm.
and the Scottish guy. Peter Morgan is the Scottish guy. He's that guy. Like in his
Oh,
mind, he's
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like he likes the royal family. He appreciates what they do. He appreciates what they stand for, which in and of itself is problematic. But like that, like little speech he gave in the beginning, that was almost like his little like here's a nod to Queen Elizabeth because she passed away, I think, a little over a year ago. And so
Mm,
that's who that man is. And it's good to like keep that. It's so the whole show has never been about the royal family and sensationalizing them. It's always been about the institution of the monarchy, which is why the show is called The Crown and not the royal family. And
right.
so we'll have fun with that. We're gonna do this. This is happening now.
Let's do it.
All right, GH. Sunny's the,
GH.
the queen of Port Charles.
Get out of here. Um, in true me fashion, I was in LA this week. I'm sad that we didn't get a chance to connect. I was facilitating and speaking and doing all this stuff. And so I didn't get a chance to watch all of the episodes. I just finished watching the last episode a few minutes ago. So
I
this
also
is straight up Soap Central recap.
yeah.
Um, so this is what we have. We'll get deeper into it. Um, Austin was shot. Dun, 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 dun. It is a mystery. We don't know who did it. They have it on black shoes.
They gotta quit killing Rojo characters. Just make it stick.
If this man comes back, I keep seeing the same joke that he's gonna come back as Molly. I was like, I can't with you. They said new Molly. Uh Finn was sued for malpractice. Hated it. Um Andrea
Off-screen malpractice.
off-screen malpractice. Like, what's going on, y'all? Andrea revealed that she had a miscarriage to TJ. TJ had to tell Molly. It was sad. Uh, Nina offered, in quotes, to sell her half of the Metro Court to Carly. Carly went to Sunny and was like, "What up with your girl?" uh, Willow and Michael tried to convince her to let Michael pay for it. Michael acted shocked, like, "She's selling it. What?" Um, Carly is seeming to say that she does not want to take anyone's money. Drew trying to get Michael to actually merge Aurora with ELQ. This time, no insider trading because they will be the only insiders.
This was never insider trading.
It was stupid nonetheless. Ned is back. Michael and Drew don't know this, but he is headed to ELQ.
No pet scan, no type
Nothing.
of anything to make sure he's okay. He's like, I have a $2,000 suit on, so obviously I'm back.
Obviously, I'm Yuri said I'm Ned. I'm Ned.
Yeah, Yuri's when did Yuri become the butler? Whatever.
This is even a chaotic recap. This is what you get with Tara's here. Uh, no, I love it for real. Cody was named the male face of deception. Ooh, y'all know Tanya will hate it. And Tara is here to stand in that hate. um, Cody and Sasha also admit that they have feelings for one another. Sodi rising. Anna lets everyone know on the low, though, in the police station, but they can't tell nobody that Charlotte is the one who was chasing her down, harassing her, setting her house on fire.
I don't know if it's like crazy or apt that they had that conversation in the Jason Morgan Memorial Interrogation Room. That was crazy. I didn't know you could tell cops shit off the record. Is that a thing?
I guess at the police station too. And Charlotte remains convinced that Anna shot her on purpose. That's all I got for the recap. I'm sure we'll talk about more. That's what I got.
It's really hard to find Charlotte and Jake cute when she out here being like this.
Uh, what was your favorite moment of the week?
I have two.
Tell me.
My first favorite moment was Ava telling Austin that she was saved by the Sunny Corinthos baby mama extended universe and not him.
Mm-hmm,
You did nothing. Second was discovering that Portia keeps a picture of her and Trina from the ill-fated Curtis wedding on her desk. Like, that is a bad luck wedding. That wedding is trash. Like, you and Curtis should break up. And so those two things were hilarious to me. I couldn't believe it. Like, I get that like Brooke looked great at the wedding, but like straight hair Portia is a menace.
Oh, I love straight hair Portia.
Gotta forget those days and
I
break up
mean,
with
I
Curtis.
love Portia, and this is not a commentary on her hair. It's a commentary on how she was behaving with said hair. She was so chaotic during that wedding where her hair was straight, and I loved it. You know I'm a Portia apologist, so
Why would they even want to remember that wedding? I would change my anniversary.
Lord knows I have no idea. My favorite moments was Yuri. I was like, why is Yuri like a record like a record exec, like a producer, a critic, a butler, apparently a neuro guy because he knew that Ed was dead, or Eddie was dead. But I am just very charmed by Yuri, and so his shenanigans were my favorite.
I totally want. I in my head canon, Yuri, Terry, and Monica are a throuple, and it's beautiful. And Monica is coaching Terry on how to run the hospital and please Yuri. that she's just like the mom in that, she's like head in the throuple. Throuple should be equal, but everybody has to defer to Monica. It's her house.
Alan gave it to her.
Alan gave it to her. It's her house, it's her hospital. So doesn't she run the board? She's like head of the board. Like that's what she decided to do.
I don't know what Monica's doing.
She's at a conference.
Always. Performer of the week. I mean, I don't know how you give it to anybody but Maura West. Maura West was Maura Westing. Always, again. I felt every moment of her cussing out Roger, of her cussing out Austin. I was like, she said, I don't trust you, because what she really said was, if you shenan once, you're gonna shenan again, and you're not gonna do that on my time. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, she just gave a performance. And there were other people who were good. I mean, Cyrus, always good. Jeff Kober, the homie, in my mind at least, always good. I love that he plays such a menace, and he, like, in real life is a meditation guy. Um and then Finola just like carrying over excellent performances. But last week was Finola's week, and this week was Maura West's week. And I don't know who at GH said, we're about to flex and let you know we have the best actresses in daytime. But whoever said it was correct, because we are flexing and we are letting people know we have the best. And Maura West, masterclass. She was not holding anything back. I felt every moment of her anger, every moment of her betrayal, every moment of her like, you don't know who the fuck I am. I loved it.
Pretty sure it was me. I said that. I
What?
remember saying that we have the best actors in
Oh,
the daytime. I said we had legends walking the halls, just falling out of the parking lot.
for real.
Emmys just spilling out of closets. But yeah, I mean, I also like Roger dying. That was amazing. And, and he was dead. It's almost like as good as when Franco died. He was also shot, wasn't he?
Yeah, it looked eerily similar.
I hope it wasn't Peter.
Oh God.
Peter coming and thinking he's shooting Franco. Yeah, Maura did a great job, because like you had Austin on this weird, I know that I've done nothing for you except lie to you, but also I have feelings for you, girl. So that should matter. And she was like, no, it doesn't. Doesn't matter. Get out. And now she's gonna be number one suspect for him getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because lollipop licking cousins also getting murked. I can feel that, because they already said somewhere, it might have been on SOD. SOD has been reduced to a Twitter page, and I think it's hilarious. They said he's gone.
I will say that SOD not being like a physical, because like I never got the physical copies. I would always get like kind of the digital copies. It is weird not to have it, I will say.
I liked it because I didn't see Austin getting shot coming, and that would have
Me
been
neither.
last week's cover story. Rojo out.
Yeah.
What's happening with Austin? And then because they don't have it, I had to be like, what? Are we shooting? What's happening here?
Yeah, I didn't know it was happening either. I was like, wait.
There's limited amount of people I feel like it could be. It would have been so much better to make this Esme. Because like there would have been everybody in the town would have had a reason to kill her. That would have been great.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming in my mind it's either Nicholas or Cyrus.
Cyrus
Or
is
someone at their
washing
behest.
dishes.
Get out of here.
Nicholas is on a yacht somewhere. They're living two separate lives. And I like how they waited until this week right now to like hammer in our heads the connection between Nicholas and Cyrus. Because I never remember, like, because he's so focused on Laura that I forget, like, oh, he would be like in his mind, he saved her son.
Right.
even though you actually kept her son from her and she didn't know where he was, and she went to Russia, she went to Chechnya of all places, super dangerous. But in his mind, he saved him. And I can't wait for that to come back around. That's gonna be hilarious because he's gonna look so shocked. He's gonna be like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
Like, I saved him. And it's like, you didn't call the cops, you didn't tell me, you didn't do any of these things.
No,
Like,
you
Ava's
just blackmailed
dangerous.
Ava. You just, what? Um, what is working?
Brother
Oh, you look
Cyrus.
like you came up short.
Brother Cyrus, I love Cyrus. I love him just going around menacing the Gatlin cousins, just
Mm-hmm.
telling them that they'll have less than they desire and more than they deserve. And I'm like, and then I did like Austin being like, I thought you were a man of God or some shit. Like, what's your problem? Finally, someone said it.
I loved when Cyrus went to go see Mason, and Mason was like, "How you get in here?" He was like, "The guard is also a man of God. Obviously, how did you get out of here?
Right.
Jesus."
Jesus. We're like this.
Just can't deal with him. Short hair Cyrus is a menace.
For real. And like, I'm very interested in like what kind of commentary GH is trying to make on early release, because they seem to be very anti early release. They're like, put these criminals in jail, throw away the key. Look what happens when you let them out. Look what happens when we invest in these programs. They're all liars. And I feel like that's a terrible message. Like,
Well,
that's my think piece. Like,
because isn't the program that Cyrus said he's going through now the program that he made Martin give all his money to?
yeah, it's all lies and criminal. Like, Clint Eastwood would be so disappointed.
Well, he deserves. Um, I have a list of things that are just all very random because usually I'm like this and here's why, but I just have a list.
Okay.
Ned not being Eddie works for me. Get him
Shower
out of here.
Ned.
I'm so glad he shaved, took a shower. He doesn't look a bum. Thank God.
Still got his wives, though. Always got to have multiple wives. Love it.
Ah, um, Marshall beatboxing slash scatting.
He he scattered. I have that in my notes for Port Misery. I was so excited. He's like scoobity boop bop bop.
Bebop, 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 bop, bop. Like,
Yes.
what? What did I got him doing? I loved it. It was a mess.
They had a
Uh,
whole conversation about meditation. Like a whole episode was dedicated to how meditation's great and how like, and Curtis was like, "Why didn't you tell me you meditated?" He was like, "You got to come to meditation on your own." I was like, "You could just tell somebody. What do you mean?" Like,
whole episode sponsored by Headspace. Like,
it was
okay,
very weird.
what?
Imagine that being like, "Oh my God, like I just came to meditation." You're like, "Oh yeah, I know you should have done that. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you have to come to it yourself."
Like I'm like, hey, where did you get that headband? You're like, gotta come to it yourself.
You gotta let that come to you.
Um, Portia and TJ scenes. You know, I'm team messy. I want me some Portia and TJ. But I really did enjoy their scene. I liked that she was somebody who went to for comfort. It like really like cemented that they're like family and friends, and that the whatever beef is happening between Portia and Jordan doesn't TJ has always been a character that is like rose above like the beef of the people older than him. And so him going to Portia like really showed that again. So I really liked that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I liked Carly giving Drew Nina's coffee. I liked it.
That was hilarious. She was like, "Fuck her.
Fuck her. And then told her, like, oh yeah, this is the second cup. I gave my man your cup before.
You didn't get the first cup of coffee, ho. I thought I was gonna give it to you, and then I remembered I hate you."
I remember I hated you, and my man came in and I gave it to him. Hashtag
Mm-hmm.
crew. Um, I also just loved Martin telling Nina he didn't care nothing about what she was talking about. He was like, "What?" He was like, "I didn't. I mean, sure, I told him, but he already knew." And yeah, I'm sure
Martin,
he's blackmailing you. What about it? Do what he said.
why is Martin, and this is going to be important misery, why is Martin the new Scott Baldwin? Like, make it make sense. He's out here telling Michael that he's got to watch out because Nina's very formidable. He's out here telling Nina that she's got to watch out because Michael is really formidable. I'm like, what game are you playing, Martin? Like, what is this? And
Mm.
I did love him being like, well, for you to like have me disbarred would mean you'd have to say what you did. So I guess you're not going to do anything. So,
Guess you ain't about
try and
nothing.
keep your friends. You have enough enemies.
And does.
Mm-hmm.
I just have Cyrus. He just tickles me. He has not. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I like that Jeff Colbert comes and goes in like spurts. I think they've used him very well as a villain. Um, he has so many connections to the canvas now. Um, he also gets his comeuppance. Like, I don't know. I just very much like Cyrus as a villain, so he works for me. Um, and then I actually love. I am starting to love Sante as an exposition couple. Here's why I say that, because it's like I'm like, give Sante a story, and then I'm looking at the stories that other couples have, and I'm like, don't give Sante a story. Like, leave him alone. So I just love them kind of being the very cute, the stable, everybody comes to us couple. That he's like, let me tell you what the hell happened. And like plays that exposition role, and Sam just like gives them the faces, like, what the hell y'all people doing out there? And so I do miss Sam being kind of like the action packed, action oriented character. And I wish they gave her a little bit more of that. But every time I look at what they're doing to other people and their couplings, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm kind of glad Sante get to be at home. Like, I don't know. It's a tough balance, especially with the set of writers, because they will run roughshod over your couples.
I'm just like sick of Sante having the same pointless conversation about Charlotte. Like they give Sam this dialogue that does not matter.
Yeah.
She's like, "Ooh, let's try to figure out why she did it." Like, oh, maybe that's not going to help us in any way, shape, or form
No.
because Anna is like, I'm not going to put Charlotte through anything, as we all knew she wouldn't. And so now she's got to figure out a way to get herself out of this without implicating Charlotte. And without implicating Charlotte, she just looks like the crazed woman who shoots children on Halloween.
Yeah.
Um, who also was a traitor, and now she shoots children. And
Hmm.
so I would like to take this time to tell Valentin Cassadine to go straight to hell. Because F him. Oh my god, I have this like fruit fly. I don't understand why fruit flies do this thing where they like want to get in your face.
I
Like they're
hate it.
mad bugging you. You're like, what are you doing? Do I owe
Yeah.
you money? Like,
um, yeah, Valentine, I don't even ugh. I mean, so Vanna Live is happening. I have lots of FOMO because I'm not there. This is the third time they've done Vanna Live, and the first time I haven't been there. I'm a little sad about it. But I couldn't make it to the East Coast. Um, and I know that they were talking about spoiler alert, that he's gonna be gone for like 6 months. So I do wonder what's gonna happen. I was sad because I really liked Charlotte, and I like that actress, and I like them bringing the kids into stories. So I wonder if Charlotte, I mean, I can't imagine after all of this, Charlotte doesn't go with Valentine if he's gone for 6 months.
I think they should give her back to Sante.
Probably.
Sante was like, we had her for a month. Why didn't we see this coming? It was super funny.
I'm also like interested to see if they play up, and I was thinking about it when I saw Charlotte and Jake walking with Liz. And I was like, huh, I wonder if they will do anything to play up that this is Helena's granddaughter, and Helena used to terrorize Liz. Um, and I said that because I think they didn't do anything to play up that like Carly's daughter was dating Liz's son. Like that wasn't like talked about really when Jocelyn and Cam were dating. Um, and so it feels like a missed opportunity. Like both Jake has a history with Helena too. Um, so I really wonder if they're gonna do something with that. Um, when you have these characters who have been around for so long and have done so much and have so much history, it's such a missed opportunity to not dig into it and mine story from it. And I feel like GH really has a problem not doing that.
I mean, they got Liz more mad at Anna for carrying a gun on Halloween. So who do that? Like
Girl,
only bad women do that. Men we understand.
men were
Women.
men were sleeping with. We understand.
Hmm. It's
Um,
just they don't want to play into anything, and then I need someone to let it slip that Charlotte's doing all this. Like, how do we not deal with it? Because it's actually a terrible look for Laura, I think, out of everyone to have the fucking mayor covering up her granddaughter terrorizing a citizen of Port Charles.
and now the vice mayor and like whatever Dante is as a cop, like whatever like position he's in. Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know. Um, Not working. I have a few things. What about you? You want to go first?
Yes. Chase being his father's support animal, support, emotional support, golden retriever. I'm not into it. The Chase men in general, like Gregory making some long speech about how he was healthy and he ran and did sports
Fuck off.
and spoke, and that's why he doesn't deserve this. I was like, who wrote this dialogue? This is atrocious. This is like last week when you had Curtis say, at least I'm not this guy. Like, have you guys ever been around differently abled people or people with chronic illnesses or people? They don't exist to make you feel better about yourself.
That part.
Like, it's just so bad every time. And I get that they're like, I can see the emotion they're trying to pull from this. Like, oh my God, this man coming to terms with like the end of his life after he's lived a long life, and there's some value in that type of story. I don't think they should have chose ALS. There's so many different things. Like, why not like vascular dementia? It's not as quick as Alzheimer's, but it's just as devastating. And as like an academic, I think like worse than losing your ability to move, losing your ability to think and remember would be more horrifying. And it's something that like a lot of people deal with, but people don't talk about this much. Like, and then also just different writers to bring in some type of humanity to the story because it's coming off as just like the worst Lifetime movie in 1994.
Yeah, it's two things I want to loop together. I am not a person who is like, oh, I don't care about new people getting story. Because I mean, like and I think that it's easy to fall into that where it's like our faves, the people who have been there for a long time, are not getting good story or not getting point of view. So I don't want to see like point of view from like Gregory. Like I think that, when you introduce new characters and when you bring people on into like joining the fabric of the show, you do have to sometimes give them like a meaty story and a point of view. But the way they've done it with Gregory and the way they've done it with Adam are terrible. Adam as in Jocelyn's like classmate. I do not care. And part of the reason I don't care is because of the way they chose to bring him in as being a creep to Jocelyn. And so what they keep doing to Jocelyn and to Trina, to be honest, is that they have them go through horrific things and then act like they didn't happen. So I'm just like, even when, and this is another thought, so we can triple back to what you said about Gregory, but when they had Gregory, or not Gregory, but Curtis capping for Spencer, not working for me. I was so put off when they were like, they asked her if Spencer was her first love, and then she went into the story about Cam, and I was like, what the hell is this? That's not even relevant to her life or to her story. What would have been way more relevant is if she would have talked about Rory. But this is what happens when you disappear characters of color and then you disappear like very, very strong and important parts of a character's history. They've never disappeared Oscar from Jocelyn, and nobody liked that kid.
No. And I am nobody. I hated him.
You're like, if Oscar has one hater, I want to like, but anyway, I'm gonna come back to that. I do want to like rewind, be kind, rewind back to what you were saying about Gregory and the Chaseman. It doesn't work. I don't care.
No. It's just there was better ways to, because I get in their mind they're like, this isn't even really Gregory's story, it's Chase and Finn's story, and like
Right.
them dealing with the loss of their father, and like, and they're not even playing it right, because like this should be like two different experiences. Like Finn and Chase seem to be, you could have replaced Chase in that scene with Finn. It would have been the same fucking scene.
Yeah.
As opposed to writing it decently, where you're like, these two men have very different relationships with their father. The way they used to write Michael and Dante, where one
Mm,
was raised by Sonny, has this super deep connection to him, and the other person was not. I mean, I guess they were both raised by him, but like Dante has this whole other version of him. Same with Finn, like,
mm-hmm,
because Finn, he slept with his dad's fiance after assuming that his dad stole the woman he liked, essentially, because Jackie met Finn first
mm-hmm.
and they were doing something. And so they had this whole contentious thing. They've just decided that doesn't matter. We made up. We're healed. It's the same problem with Portia and Curtis this week. I was
Right.
like, so are you guys healed? This is done? Like, he doesn't want to have sex with you? You kept his daughter from him for 20 years? He kissed his ex-wife and you guys are just healed?
Yeah, we're over it.
It's just a refusal to soap. I refuse to soap. I don't want to do it. We're healed. You know, Curtis is like, I'm going to tell you to date this kid that you told me puts another girl in her baby before you. You should just prioritize him more. That's clearly what's happening. You're not prioritizing him enough.
Yeah, Curtis like asked. I mean, so let me back up. If I told my dad that some boy who I didn't want to talk to kept blowing my phone up, like he would be mad. He'd be like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm not even saying that as like Spencer needs, like, she needs to be mad at him or whatever. I'm saying that like having a diverse set of reactions to a circumstance actually makes the circumstance better. It actually makes the story better.
The soaps used to do it that way. It used to be like someone had a fight, couple had a fight. Someone goes to talk to their friends, family, whoever. The family reacts in a new normal human way. Fuck that. That's not right. That's not okay. And then the person themselves begins to defend their beau.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to work through themselves that they actually want to be with this person. The show refuses to soap. They refuse to soap. And it's like this weird thing of like, we can't have Curtis and Hat Daddy or even Portia anymore be anti Sprina, because then people aren't going to like those characters. They already don't like those characters. They don't care. Nobody has like Curtis Ashford fandoms. Like, he's a fine character. He's good to get places from one point to the other. We think most people, I feel, think you don't use Curtis in the correct way anymore, or you don't know how to use him. But like, he's a regular basic character. I don't think he's is as hated as it seems. It's just funny to hate on him.
Yeah.
But like nobody's creating Hat Daddy Patreons or like
Good
Brooke
night.
her Patreon. There's obviously something like that Sprina has that like makes people want to do that.
Right.
And
Right.
so it's you don't need to gear every character towards being pro Sprina. You can have people act normal and then people will feel how they're gonna feel and they'll say things on Twitter, and we'll move on.
I will say that if Hat Daddy started a Patreon, I'm not saying I'm not gonna join it.
I
Is he
mean,
gonna bebop, skadoo bop,
if
or
he
wop bop
scaps,
wib?
I'll join it. I'll join at the lowest tier, but I'll join it.
But I'll join it. I'm a Patreon for Tabiana.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah,
Tabiana's Tabiana, but I don't think that like, oh, a character is unviable if they're not pro
I
Sprina. I
agree.
think that's like
100%.
ridiculous to like write characters where they have to like cheerlead this young adult couple. Like,
Especially if part of it is like the laziness of not giving people like true point of view around it, and like letting them eventually like work their way into like supporting or being like, I don't really mess with this person, but like it's not giving people and not bringing in the history. So we this is a moment where we need a Taggart, as I'm always is a moment that we need Taggart, right? Where is Taggart to be like, even if it's, I mean, because this is what Black families do, right? You come over, you talk about it, everybody's talking over each other, and like somebody say one thing and another person say another thing, and we joking and arguing and laughing about it. That could have been a moment where Taggart was there with them, being like, I never really liked the Cast Iron Boy, and then them being like, well, my experience with him is this, and that. It's not a problem to dislike a character if you have motivation. And Taggart has hella motivation to dislike Spencer and like the cast eyes in general. In the same way that like Robert doesn't like Valentin.
yeah, and I don't think you need to like even you don't even need to dislike the character. Like Curtis and Hat Daddy don't have to like dislike it or even be anti Sprina, right? You don't have to be an anti to be Team Trina in that moment. Like
Yeah,
at no
exactly.
point in this conversation did it feel like they're like, whatever you want to do, I'm Team Trina. If you want to go like key that man's car, let's go key his car. Like if you want to be with him forever and marry him, then you do that. But I'm on your side. And I keep waiting. I think they have Jocelyn say it and no one else.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think that what you just pointed out was like so crystal clear, because I think, especially, I mean, in general, across the board with like young adult couples, and we see this in every genre, they become adultified very quickly. And so we have like 21 and 22-year-olds, and people are like planning their weddings and planning their babies. And like that happens in fandoms. That's what happens. I watch All American, and so I know that like Bolivia is like, they're like sophomores in college, and people are like, yeah, so when they have babies, I'm just like, hold on. And so there is something about Hat Daddy and Curtis being able to slow it down and be like, this is your first love, girl, you're 21, as opposed to Curtis like comparing their relationship to his marriage. You know what I'm saying? It was just like very weird. Or like asking Trina if the number one thing in her life is Spencer, when it's like that's not actually the question. She's not mad that like if he was busy with work or with school, that's not what she'd be mad about. She's mad because he's like shacking up with and doesn't want to stop shacking up with his ex-girlfriend who drugged her and terrorized her. Because let's not pretend like Esme just did one thing and it was a oopsie mistake. No, this woman drugged her, terrorized her, and tried to put her in jail. and then release revenge porn of her best friend. So there's very real reason for her to be like, to have like real feelings about Esme. And it's not the same as, oh yeah, my man like just works too hard. And so I was just really put off by it to your exact point. There was a way to be team trainer in that situation and still respect that she loved Spencer and not like whatever that it was that they were doing. Because I didn't like that.
Yeah. And it's like they don't have enough young people in relationships to be able to give advice.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, as much as I like Jex, they have a weird relationship. They're not really in the position to be like, let me give you advice on like how you make shit work with a mobster. Like, it's
Right.
different.
Right.
And so she has to go to these like grown up people who have like varying degrees of maturity and like a lot of chaotic baggage in their own romantic history, giving her advice.
Yes.
And I guess if you're Ava Jerome, yeah, Sprina is probably the healthiest fucking relationship you've ever seen. So, it's just a weird, it's just, they don't need this much angst. I feel like they don't have enough togetherness to be this angsty all the time, Like,
Yes.
there's this sort of big sort of like, oh, I can't believe they did this to Vanna. And I'm like, Vanna spent months and months and months and months and months together in love on the run. Yes, they were in danger, but the danger wasn't each other, right? The
Right.
danger actually slammed them together. And so that's why the show feels rather comfortable doing this to them.
Yeah.
And I don't actually imagine there was ever going to be a period where they were happy in Port Charles. Now, like, was Charlotte always going to be the cause? No, but there was plenty of people who were there being like, fuck Valentine, right? I think Dante and Anna's relationship is the perfect thing I want for like Trina and anybody on this freaking show. Dante is really like, Valentine ain't shit, but you know what? I'm team Anna.
Yeah.
And so if that's what you want to do, that's what you're doing. And if it works out, I support you. And when it falls apart, I'm going to be here to support you.
Right.
I'm team Anna. That's what Trina needs from anyone in her family.
Yeah. I do love Robert being with Felicia. Like, I told Anna about him. You think Anna think I'm gonna say I told her so? Like, he was, it's like, what the hell, Robert? No, but I agree with you about the Trina thing. I will also say, I mean, and I talk about this all the time. You know how I feel about trying to make sure that this character is like long-term viable, and like rooted in Port Charles. And so to go back to this conversation about her first love. Now, I know people didn't like Rory. I have no love for that actor. I think the show, like zero love. Let me negative love for that actor. Um, and I think that that doesn't matter when we're talking about the character and the precedent it sets to just disappear a character of color as if they never existed. And this being like a substantial part of Trina's story. And so, what does it mean to be able to disappear people in her orbit and make them unlikable and like either disappear them or make them unlikable enough that the audience is not siding with them? That is not good for the character of Trina. And so, what would have been better and reflected more of what we saw on the show was if Trina, if like they'd have been like, oh, well, we've seen you in another relationship where you're in love, and her to say, listen, it's always been Spencer for me. And so I tried to be in this other relationship with a really good guy who cared about me, and it was boring, and I didn't love him, and I couldn't stop thinking about Spencer. And so I know that he's like the one for me or whatever it is. Not to like dig back into the archives of Cameron. What are we talking about? Cameron and Trina had a cute flirtation. And it was understandable why they like had such a heightened experience that brought them together. And then when they tried it, it was a mess. I remember the very first Sprina Zoom, where it was Sydney and Nicholas, and somebody asked them about their first kiss, which you never got with them. And they brought up that the kiss between Sydney and William was a mess. And Sydney was like, I'm not worried about that here. Everybody went nuts. Like, oh my God. You know, I went nuts. I was everybody. So why are we pretending like Cam and Trina was like a substantial part of her history when it was not? That serves no one. So unless we're setting up some like drama with Joss, unless we're setting up, which I don't want, unless we're setting up Cameron coming back and going after Trina, which I don't want her to end up with Cameron, but you know, I'm not mad if somebody likes Trina. um, why did we do this? What was the point? Especially in recent history when we saw her with somebody else. I don't know. What did you think about that?
I mean, I think it's really a slippery slope. If you're Sonny Corinthos, Sonny Corinthos is known for having, I mean, don't castigate me so in the stands, like two great loves, Brenda and Carly. It doesn't mean those are the only two relationships he's had. He's had plenty of ladies, and I'm sure if like you at like if it was somebody who's been watching for the past 3 decades went through and tried to list all of his love interests as paramours, you would forget some. And it would be fine because
Right.
like the big ones you would hit. Um Trina is not Sonny Corinthos. And that's the thing. So all of her canon is actually necessary. It's necessary
Right.
for the show to acknowledge it. It's necessary for it to be something that was important for her character and her growth. Because as you were saying, it's just all too easy to disappear Black characters. And even Black characters who are attached to core families in Port Charles, because the Wards are gone.
All of them.
They're gone, and they're attached to one of the most quintessential core families of Port Charles, Quartermains. And so, like, they already detached her from Taggart, who had a longer history on this show than the Ashfords. And now, because the Ashfords are like a add-on from Sean Butler.
Right.
And so
Who's
it's
gone
this who's gone.
and never
And
spoken about.
so it's actually like, and I wonder if like the show was thinking like, well, let's say Cameron because he's legacy and it sounds better, but like when it comes to like what actually happened on the show, she didn't do anything with Cameron. He chose Jocelyn. I remember I was busy being upset about it,
Yeah.
and so like, you know, to just erase Rory when like you guys made such a big deal about his death, and then like had Dante feeling some type of way. Trina was wailing in the hospital halls over it.
Now
She
she
did
did
mention
take Spencer as her date
that's
to
her
his
date.
funeral, which is very queen behavior.
Hmm.
The legendary jumped out when she did that,
And
and I loved it.
that should be no, because that's not. I mean, it's still canon. It still happened, but like that should be known. You know that you had a boyfriend who died and you
Yeah.
went to their funeral, their off-screen funeral.
Right. Those things are important for characters. Because and it was, I mean, all of that stuff, all of those moments make up the lore of a character. It
Mhm.
makes up why we love them. It makes up all of those things. And to be quite honest, the Rory relationship shows you why the Sprina relationship is so good. You know what I mean? Like that was supposed to be the thing. Cam was never that. That was laughable. When Cameron talked about it, it was nothing.
It was
When
like
Trina talked
trauma
about it, it was
induced.
nothing. Right. It was nothing. But the Roy relationship was actually like, look at this guy who's really good to her. He really cares about her, and she cannot get into him because she is only thinking about Spencer. This is another example of how they treat this couple and they give them all this unnecessary drama when there's drama right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we talked that to death. I liked the Joss and Spencer scene. I like the reminder that they have this history together, as like this long time history as friends. I think that it also like was so anti-romantic. Anybody who was like trying to like pretend like that was a thing, like it is absolutely not. Like it was the opposite of, it was the no, it was the other side of romantic. It was zero sparks. And but anyway, I liked her calling Spencer her friend to remind, like, yeah, they was beefing, they've beefed forever, and that has always been the nature of their relationship. And that she's gonna ride hard for Trina, period, because that's her friend. So I liked that scene.
It's also a good counterpoint to Mo's son, where like Mo, you have this kid who's just sort of like harassing her, essentially. Like, you have to do this. I'm gonna put my hands on you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't owe you anything. I don't know you. You actually said fucked up things to me. I have better things to do. I don't have enough time for this. Goodbye. Where like Spencer, this is my lifelong friend. Like, he might have called me the porno queen of Port Charles, but you know what? I'm gonna stand by him. I gotta stand by him, obviously, and it's a good counterpoint to that. And that's my nickname for Young Thug, Mo's son. I'm not
Young
learning his name.
Thug. Good
Like,
night. No,
like
I agree. I agree. I think um I I think that they need more people in that age grouping, and I think they need to be introduced in a different way, in a way that we care about. I do not care about that kid, and yeah, I don't care about him. I
why not
don't.
bring him on as a different character? They act like that his character was so instrumental that like there's no way they could introduce him as anyone but this. I know. I don't even know his name. Like, he's Mo's son. He was Mo's son when he played Sonny in the flashback episode to see like what would happen if Sonny didn't kill Margot's dad and then he married Olivia and somehow Dante became a mobster. Honey, make it make sense. That's where they got the first idea for Sante though. So Sante fans thank Mo's son for giving you your freaking your your king and queen. I didn't care about him then. I didn't care about him when he said he watched Jocelyn's revenge porn thing, which is gross. What a creeper, what a weirdo. You didn't even see anything. They were like super under the covers. It was the most
Yeah.
chaste, Christian Amish fucking first time ever. So like, who cares? Like, why not just bring him in like, hey, I'm new person who lives on your floor, your co-ed floor,
Right.
and I'm also a pre-med. Why make him this character that I'm so easily like, fuck him? And like, what are you trying to give him the fucking Mo challenge? Like, let's see if we can have this character come on as an asshole. And then 30 years later, he's the star. Is that what we're doing? Because you don't have 30 years. You don't
Ah,
have that time. So why are we
no,
doing this?
no, you certainly do not. Um, yeah, I want to go back to another thing that you talked about with like this inability to soap. I think that showed up in the surrogate storyline too. And what world, you're telling me that she went to another hospital and then came in, like, where was the drama? Where was the her coming in with cramps and TJ having to find somebody else to like check her, and then him and Molly like waiting in the waiting room to like see, that's drama. Not her being like, this thing happened, I went to a different hospital, so sorry.
That is the setup of an even soapier plot where she pretends she didn't have a miscarriage and now has to scramble to find a new baby, a la Maxie trying to give Lante her and Spinelli's baby, but they
Right.
refuse to do that.
Right. I mean, yes. And which I would love, obviously. They're also doing something similar to that on Days. They're doing a whole nother baby swap thing. Um,
It's
but
Ron,
even
so
just, huh?
it's Ron.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But even just like the idea of like, where is the drama? Where is the payoff? They're slow walking this Nina reveal. I don't even care anymore.
no.
Who cares? Drew's out, Carly's happy, and now you just got Michael looking stupid.
Ned got his head memory back.
And here comes Olivia being like, you know what? We kind of chilling right now. Like everybody getting along, me and Nina working together. Why don't you just be quiet and let everybody think you did that?
I mean, I knew that the Molly TJ baby thing wasn't going to be anything when they had Chase's dad in real life daughter play the surrogate. Nepo Hospital. Um, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I
Who
that's
else needs a job? I need a job. Can I get a role on General Hospital?
that's about to be the title of this episode. But but also you're not related to nobody, so it can't be like Nepo enough. You know what I mean?
Maybe TJ and Molly can adopt me. Do they need a 36-year-old US historian? Because I would be a wonderful daughter.
No, Curtis and Nina can adopt you.
Nina's rich, so I could pretend to love her.
Valentin can lie and tell her that you're really her baby.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, Nell,
Finn,
I was Nell um and Willow's triplet with a black dad.
I would be in one of her offices. I'm not sure if they're the same, the Crimson or the Metro Court office, but she has two offices, which seems like a lot. But I would be in there telling her how Cyrus Clay has like a Haitian great grandmother. And that's why, that's why I look like this. And
Or
they're
it's gotta
blonde.
be like Landview Vicky style where you just got a whole different daddy.
Mm-hmm. I have to
Maybe she knew
choose.
Curtis back in the day, and
When he
Curtis
was a
really is your
crackhead.
daddy. There you go.
I don't want crackhead Curtis as my dad.
Well,
I don't
I'm just
even
trying to write
get
you in.
I don't get meditative Curtis. Like, maybe Hat Daddy's my dad when he was being told by the FBI he was crazy.
And then he impregnated Nina.
Yeah, she was. I mean, this could get so dark quickly if we keep going. So
Yeah, let's stop. Uh, anyway, Nepo Hospital, we're ready. Um, I just feel like the inability to soap is really dragging down the soap. That's what I'll say.
yeah, you know what's dragging down GH? Everybody wanting to snitch. It's turning into Snitch Hospital. Like Snitch,
Examples, please.
Nepo. Mason and Austin were fighting over who could snitch harder first. Ava told Austin to snitch. Why didn't you snitch?
Yeah, she did.
Like, you should snitch more. Ned was trying to snitch on Nina. Olivia was like, you shouldn't do that. Snitch less. She does not believe in Ned. I love it. She just is his enemy. Um, what a good way to keep your enemies close, marry them, and try to destroy them from
Just
within.
just op it
Um,
on your own husband.
yeah, Dante and Jordan want Anna to snitch. She won't. I noticed she didn't tell Robert. Robert would have already snitched. He would be like, it was
Oh,
Valentine's crazy dog.
I'm talking about Robert would have brought charges on the Charlotte ASAP. He was like, "What do we charge Anna with?" He'd have been like, "I already know what to charge Charlotte with."
Mm-hmm. Someone
As
tell
an
Robert
adult,
quick. It's so funny because like literally 6 months ago, Robert was like way down here and Valentin was up here, and it's just switched. It's just like
Robert really
Robert.
took me out talking to Felicia. He was on that bench. I can't believe it. I never liked him. I told her ass I never liked casting out a day in my life. And he was like, "You think Anna didn't call me because she think I'm gonna say I told her so? Why would she think that? I would never. I would just tell you I told her so. I would never tell that to her,
I mean, I wish I
like I
could
did
be as
about Peter."
confident. I wish I could be as confident about Valentin had me bamboozled too. I thought I had so many thoughts. I believed because I was never team Fana. I'm always like fuck a Michael Easton character.
Yeah.
He knows why. I will never forgive John McBeth for breaking up J Sam. That's my canon. I'm sticking to it. And you know, Fana was like, whatever. If Anna wants to do that, I support Anna.
The only
I
time I
support
ever liked
Anna.
John McBain is when he was with Evangeline on One Life to Live. And then when he left Evangeline for Natalie, because that's my headcanon, period. When he left her, I never liked him after that.
I'm just like, but I liked Vanna. And then here comes this bum ass Cassadine, which I should have been my first clue because I don't care for the Cassadine. Like a
See,
true
I do.
Corinthos crime family member. Just no, you can't trust these people. They're inbred Euro trash.
And see,
Like,
I love the Cassadines, have always loved the Cassadines, specifically because when I first started watching GH, I was like, oh my God, is that Patch?
they really thought they were gonna redo Patch and Kayla with Stefan and Catherine, and then she got thrown off
The
the
parapet.
parapet multiple times. So great. Loved it.
Oh God. Hilarious.
Kayla Johnson is great. Catherine Bell can go straight to hell. And
Menace.
if you know, you know.
That's right. I think I have talked through all of my hot takes. However, I do have one that cracked me up. Um, which was when Nina was talking to Sunny and she was just like, me and Carly are just like sniping, waiting to take each other down. Carly's not
No.
waiting for that with you. Girl, you're just talking and telling on yourself. Why do you think that about Carly? She's not thinking about you.
The only time she think about her is when she in her face.
When she came out and she saw that girl like trying to get some coffee from Kelly's, Carly looked at her like, hey Nina, ain't no coffee at the
Mm-hmm.
Metro Court?
Don't you have gourmet coffee? We did last time I ran it, but it's turned
You know
into a Motel
everybody,
6.
everybody got Corinthos coffee, okay? Ain't no
Yeah,
difference.
it's a monopoly. Sunny got a monopoly. Remember, there was a story. If you're like a new GH viewer, like in 2019, there was a storyline where Sunny forced Julian Jerome to have Corinthos coffee at Charlie's.
I
He
do.
just showed up with like 18 pounds of coffee. He was like, you paid for this. Like, I was like, what's happening?
Was there ever a bigger loser than Julia Jerome? My God.
Remember when people thought that Michael was going to start bringing Starbucks to Port Charles when he was first mad at Sunny?
That was I said that's when he gonna bring Pete's coffee with this Corinthos. We out of
The
here.
coffee. That's why every time we do this, I gotta drink coffee. I don't have I wanted it to stay hot, so I have it in my thermal cup. They need to make a Corinthos coffee cup that's thermal. I will give you all my fucking money for it.
That's hilarious.
Get on the ABC. Where are you?
I have it's not near me. I have this new I like did this thing at SEIU and they have like a Starbucks worker united cup or whatever. It's my favorite cup. I use it
I
anytime I
need
go get coffee anywhere.
I need one that's 24 ounces cold, and I will take it to Starbucks every time I go.
Yeah, that would have been a better story. I would have loved Because that's the other thing. We just not gonna talk about Dex being like a double op ever. It don't even
Sunny
come
is
up.
not gonna look like a bitch, and so they're canceling all the stories that where Sunny look like a bitch. He's done. He's happy. He told Carrie Shane that last week that he's happy now,
He
and
did.
so he said he's happy, and he used to not be happy, but now he's happy. So we're not doing that. He also told her that, like, in his mind, he gave Karen the pills to help her. And I was like, I just want to say there's no giving anybody pills is unhelpful. Like, only doctors should be prescribing pills. And hopefully for altruistic reasons to help their patients, not just because they're weirdo doctors, but like there's never a point where you have to hand somebody pills and you're the good person.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Carrie Shane State of Mind, so y'all don't have to, essentially.
He said he did.
Yeah, he said that because he was like, he's okay. This is what I said. He keeps it very 100 that he understands his character was very disliked when he came on. He was coming in between like a fan favorite because people like Karen and Jagger were like the Sprina of the 90s. Like people just loved them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he was the big bad dude putting her on the pole. With Brenda dating Jagger, she's evil, and like Sunny's putting Karen on the pole and giving her pills. And so he said at a certain point he decided, because he took the job because it was like very short. He wasn't going to be on for a long time, famous last words. And then he decided he really liked it. So he had to change the motivation for his character for him to be able to keep playing the character. So for himself, just before I get people in my on my Twitter account being like, you didn't even give the context for himself, he said that like when he heard like Karen had and this is the thing, I'm not sure he understands Karen's story. He heard that Karen was being abused by her mom's boyfriend. And then he equated that to him being abused by his father through really harsh discipline. Like his dad used to spank him essentially.
Oh, we know.
And I'm like, that's not the abuse that was happening to Karen. It was a different abuse. And so there's a point where she tells him, Sunny, about her abuse, that she's being abused by her. She's being essayed by her
Yeah.
mom's boyfriend.
Yes.
And Mo took this as just regular like physical abuse, like being hit, and that like his character giving her the pills was helping her get through her trauma. And I was like, huh.
This is as the kiddos say, Delulu. Like, what the hell is this? But see, also, this is what I'm talking about when you have these actors like acting from this motivation. And see, the other part about that GH does is back in the day, we used to have so much repetition on soaps. Like, it was truly like if you missed a day or you missed 2 days, you could jump back in and have not only the storyline, but the full context.
Mm-hmm.
And GH doesn't do that anymore. So if you didn't watch or if you weren't around or if you just don't want to like lean into the full context of something, you don't have to. So what happens is that if you are a fan of someone or something, you can then like be arguing with people about why your fave did this, why your fave did that. Or if you hate someone, you can talk about what and why they did these things. But there is no like uniform thing. So like now, say you haven't been watching and then you just tuned in. Everybody is acting like Anna shot Charlotte and it was her fault, or any of this was her fault. It is not any of her fault. Like they're like, there's no excuse for what she did. Yes, there is. Their excuses that somebody was trespassing on her property and she thought they had a weapon because they shouldn't have been there. That's a real ass excuse. What do you mean? And so if you don't watch the show, you wouldn't know. With Nina, she has terrorized Willow. Like, up until the very moment that she found out that Willow was her daughter, she snooped and found out Willow had cancer. And then the first thing that she did was not even wait to a decent time of day to try to meet with them, stormed over to their house to talk about how it affected her grandson, and was around and being ridiculous up until the minute where they were like, "That's your daughter." And then she was like, "Oh my God, I love her." And so if you are a Nina hater like myself, because, you know, if Nina has a million haters, I'm one in a million. If Nina has one haters, I'm one of one, like Beyonce. And if Nina has zero haters, I don't exist. So a hater like myself will be able to like run it back and tell you all that she's done. But if you haven't watched her, if it isn't constantly reinforced, not to like trash the character, but to give context, then you just don't have any context. And then these actors can say shit like, well, I put her on a pole and I gave her these pills because I'm a good person. What the hell?
I was trying to help her.
I just want to give a helping hand.
With drugs.
Because when they said a little help for my friends, what they meant was a little bit of drugs in one hand and a little bit of a pole in another.
Mm-hmm. That actually is what the Beatles meant.
Which is possible, actually.
Like, that is actually what a little help for my friends means, is to give some drugs.
Listen.
But it's not the 60s, Mo. It's not. It's a different time. It's the 90s.
And so it's also like, this is how you know, like JPS, the thing that makes me laugh about Valentin is he plays him like Valentin's a little bitch right now. You know what I mean? Like he is not like, he's not over the top or like rooted in like I'm right. He like, nah. You can tell he gets the script every time, just be reading like, I'm gonna do what? All
JPS was
right, let me make it work.
hilarious. JPS was hilarious on Twitter this week. He was just like going through like, please understand the terrible decisions Valentin must make for his daughter. He's not making good decisions. And then people are like, making it, because JPS got a lot of stands, so like they will make
Yeah.
it make sense for him. They're like, this, and this, and he's like, thank you for understanding. I was like, this is hilarious. It's so hard to be Valentin in these streets today, because I'm just out here like, tell that man to go to hell.
I mean, part of it I think is because he worked so hard to like rehab this character. You know what I'm saying? He worked so hard to get this character to a place that he could be beloved. And he's like, I can't believe they're taking it all away from me.
He
Cause
knew this was coming.
the
Remember
thing,
when we went to Vanna Live and
mm-hmm.
me and him had that Diddy on X Factor moment where he
Yes,
looked at me and I looked at him,
I
and
do.
then that I asked him like what the hell Valentin's problem is, and then he got real quiet. He knew this was coming.
I'm sure he didn't know it was this bad, but he knew it was gonna be some mess. Because the thing about JPS is he is a Fanola stan. So he would not have it any other way. He's like, no, she's right. I'm wrong. It's okay. According to people who are Evan alive, did we talk about this at the top? But he might be gone. He's gonna be gone for like 6
Yeah.
months for his show. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Disney said, oh, this strike had us behind schedule. You're gonna have to move on to the set.
I know.
You
Well,
live here now.
the other thing that we found out is that the show that Nicholas Chavez is on is going to be, isn't, don't they start recording in December?
Yeah.
So
December to February.
December to February. So I'm sure he's deep in script and all that stuff right now.
People are
Um,
saying he might not be gone, but Ryan Murphy shows tend to film on the East Coast, so he might actually have to be gone for a couple months.
what they think that he's
Um,
gonna do both?
yeah, there's some talk that like maybe he could do both because the filming isn't that long, and I'm like, the fact that it's a short shoot means that they're filming like episode a day. They're
No,
doing a lot,
I also
and
don't.
then
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah, and I can't see them. I mean, the Menendez brothers thing happened here in LA, but it's so expensive to shoot in LA, and like you have to. The schedule is so crazy. Like Ryan Murphy shows tend to shoot in New York, and so I'd be interested if they like use certain things, like come you like utilize LA County courtrooms because like LA County courts have very specific aesthetics. Like they're not the old school 19th century courts that you get on the East Coast. They're very much these very basic, like built in the 1970s type courtrooms that are not cute at all. And so I'm wondering, yeah, I think he's gonna have to be off the show. Like they're gonna have something where the Cassadines have to go return, they get deported or something. They'll have to go back to Russia. I don't know. Um
Yeah, I'm looking. So American Horror Story is shot in. I was sorry, I was listening while you were saying that and Googling. Are shot in New York and New Jersey. I would
okay.
wonder where the OJ show was shot. It that is not as easy to pull up because you
Mm,
can recreate any kind of like courtroom on a soundstage. They probably are not going to let them shoot in the courthouse anyway. They also will probably shoot, to your point, on the East Coast or Atlanta. Um, and then if they
mhm.
need any exterior shots in LA, they'll do that. But I don't think that they'll spend the whole time doing that. The other thing I'm going to say is this is a very dark show and a very dark character, and he is a young actor. He's gonna have to live in that. I can't imagine that he would be able to, like, even if they were in LA the whole time, I can't imagine that he would be able to turn off this Menendez character to go like shoot a couple scenes to be of Spencer Cassadine. That like
They
does not
might
make a lot of sense to me.
they might shoot in LA. It's saying that seasons 1 and 3 were shot in LA.
Yeah. I mean, either way.
Season two was in Florida, was in
Mhm.
Miami.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't a Versace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes
Yeah.
sense. But yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine that he, as a young actor, would be expected to turn that character off and then come with
Mhm.
all that darkness into GH and like shoot like that. It doesn't even sound right to me personally. That doesn't make sense. And to your point, these days are going to be very long. And he's not JPS, and this is not the same thing. They're not going to make these accommodations like that Disney show made, because it's also Disney and Disney made for Villains of Valley View, and then him to come do a little bit of GH. I
It
don't see that
it
happening.
actually might be Disney
Oh, is Ryan Murphy
because
things Disney?
it's FX. Disney owns Fox.
Okay.
And so, I don't know. I have to look into that, but I know that FX was part of Fox, and I don't know what. I think the only thing that like the Murdochs kept of like 20th Century Fox was Fox News. I think they sold everything to Disney. So
Mm,
it might, but then Ryan Murphy is his own sort of thing. And so
entity.
I can,
Yeah.
yeah, he could be like, no, 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 like you need to be here.
Yeah. I just personally can't see, just on a level of his like well-being as an actor and as who Ryan Murphy is, how much power he wields. I cannot imagine um that they will do this differently. I'll also say, a lot of times there's a lot of time between when something is filmed and when it comes out. But because of the strike and because things are like hyper speed now, I don't think there's going to be as much of a buffer and a time between when they're done filming and when it's actually released.
Yeah, it should be out in fall probably,
Yeah.
like next fall.
So I think it's more likely that he'll be gone for the duration of the show, of like their filming, come back and like wrap up Spencer and then leave.
Yeah, because he's gonna have to do promotion and like they might have to do pickup scenes because sometimes you film things and then you go to production and you realize like the sound is off or something is, wrong with the film. And so you have to go back and reshoot that.
Right.
And so like it's gonna be a lot of his time. And then this is a really big platform, like a springboard for his career.
Yeah.
And so I really can't imagine like him, and it wouldn't be my advice, someone who like grew up around working actors. It would not be my advice to sort of lose momentum in this moment and like fall back on your soap opera. Like I
Yeah.
don't think anybody at GH would tell him he should resign with General Hospital. Like, go to reoccurring and see what's out there. And
Hmm.
if it's hard to find your next job, then you'll have GH as a cushion. But like, you don't want to be sort of tied down by a contract because like you're in the prime of your career. Like I just think of Jacob Elordi and where that fool is right now, just running
Hmm.
around trashing kissing booth and shit. Like that could be you in 3 years
I don't
trashing
I think
GA.
I don't think Nicholas, I think he has enough sense not to trash GH. Um
Yeah.
he seems very, I mean, this is all conjecture. We do not know this boy
No, no,
from
no, we
anybody.
don't.
So I just want to like put that out there. But he does seem intelligent enough to just be humble and be like, I appreciate, this is where I came from. Because I don't think like Jonathan Jackson, for example, and I think that Nicholas has the potential, especially with the Netflix and right, if he joins like the Ryan Murphy universe, and it starts doing multiple shows, he has the ability to like be bigger than like what Jonathan Jackson was able to do in his movies and with Nashville. But I've never heard him trash GH.
No, no, no. I was just saying because Jacob
No, no, no. I
Elordi
know.
is yeah, it's in there in the news because his like kissing booth co-stars are like, we didn't have that experience. um, but
Right,
yeah, I just mean like in terms of his career, not in terms of his comments about kissing booths,
right, right,
which
right,
also stars, people who've been in soaps before. So,
right. Yeah. So I
um,
do think that he has the like potential to like I mean, you just really don't know, especially if Ryan Murphy likes you. Think about a Darren Chris, for example, who's in everything that he does. A Max Greenfield, like there are like those actors that if you work with Ryan once, like
Evan
he just
Peters,
keeps
his
Evan.
whole career, he owes
Yeah,
to Ryan Murphy.
absolutely. So if you work with him once, like he keeps coming back to the same well of actors. Um, I think to your point, you might see him come back to be like recurring or to do like an arc or something. But this is also why um I've always been so stuck on what all of these things mean for Trina because his contract was always going to go for like shorter than Tabiana's. And so we don't want things to be taken away from Trina if Sprina is not there. So anyway, that's all I got. Those are my only notes. Crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
I
have
have
anything
other,
else?
no, nothing that's like super deep. Um, I think the Kate Mancy thing where she's
Oh
spoiled.
yeah.
Um,
Let's talk
I'm
about it.
I don't think she meant to spoil. I think that like I would imagine that Steve and Bradford are really organized with like who they get to be on their show nowadays. Like I think back in the day it was a little bit more chaotic, and now it's like the primary thing that both of them do, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine what went down was like she was like, so when is this airing? Because like
Mm-hmm.
when it airs actually garners how much a person who's currently on a soap can talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because if it's going to come out after like a storyline's already going to come out, then you're free game. And so I think that like she was under the belief that like this wasn't going to come out until like maybe 2024, like early January.
Oh,
And so she was going to be able to like let me go off and like say what Christina's going to be up to in these larger ways. And then for some reason, and I'm not saying that
Oh
anything
wait,
bad happened on
hold up. Let's back up. Just to give context. So Kate Mancy was
yeah,
on Steve Burton, Bradford Anderson's podcast.
the third iteration of it.
Yeah, the third iteration of that. And part of what happened was that they asked her what was up with Christina, and she said she basically previewed that she was going to be with Dating Blaze, and that she was going to be Molly and TJ Surrogate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so the question became like, did she spoil?
yeah,
Did she spoil something? Now I think there's like okay, this before because I didn't get to, put the allegedlys. I don't necessarily think that this was Steve and Bradford's fault either. I think maybe something went down with them and they had to move her episode up and like
mm,
didn't think about the off comment thing she said about what Christina's doing.
right.
And that was just mistakes made on both sides, that it wasn't some malicious thing from anyone.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with that.
and I think the question about whether or not this is spoiled or not is that isn't this where we all thought this was going?
Yeah,
Like, and not even just with the fucking surrogate, but with dating Blaze, starting her foundation. Like this was where Christina was rolling along towards. And so I'm not sure if she actually spoiled anything. I feel like if she came on and told me that Roger Howarth was going to get shot in the chest 3 times, that would be a spoil. I'd be like, what?
right.
But like her telling me things that I already knew her character was probably going to end up doing, I'm not sure if that's a spoil.
I agree with that. We all called this, we all saw this coming. These are not um surprising things. This is just a confirmation of what we already knew. So I agree. I think, I think that sometimes when the show is not scandalous enough, we look for scandal.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think Kate Mancy is also very trained and
Yeah.
has been on a soap opera many times. And so if something was like so embargo that she couldn't have said it, she wouldn't have said it anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, she probably thought it might have been coming out a little bit later or whatever, and it was off the cuff, but it also was like not the kind of thing that is like this is the future of my character, period, or whatever. This is anybody could see these things coming from a
Yeah,
mile away.
the show is like, and I wouldn't make the argument the show doesn't surprise us anymore because, like, I remember being genuinely surprised when Michael was Dex's boss. I remember being genuinely
Oh yeah,
surprised
me too.
when Nicholas came back, was just sitting on the couch with hillbillies drinking a beer. I remember I was surprised this week when they shot Austin. And so, like, I feel like there was a million things she could have said that would have been way more shocking than what she did say,
Right,
that actually counted something. Like, not only am I shocked by this, I didn't even think this was possible. It wasn't even in my radar.
right.
And so, because I mean, out of the three I just listed, Michael being Dex, but that's what I mean about Michael. And then they do such great thing. They set up greatness with Michael, and then they make it trash because like they set that up perfectly. They were like fighting each other in the streets and stuff. You were like,
I had
ooh,
no idea.
like,
Mm,
I was so shocked. And then, but like I said, those are the things that shocked me. Not, you know, even though this is the most important storyline, arguably, and everyone's talking about it, nobody was shocked that Anna shot Charlotte. We had all called that.
yeah,
Like we were like, this ends with this little girl getting shot. The most shocking thing was that Frank pulled the trigger on that, literally
yeah.
and figuratively. Because we were like, if
Hmm.
this doesn't end with her shooting this little girl, thinking she's like some WSB agent, then this was a waste of time. And so I think we're mostly shocked that he actually did it. But I mean, we all called that storyline.
We
Gia just
called
becomes
it.
very predictable.
We called it, and like it wasn't like she was out here talking about like when she was going to do it. It was definitely like we were able to be shocked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Kate thing was fine. The Roger thing shocked the hell out of me. I was like, wait. Hold up.
And doing it on a Friday. I was like, y'all's Fridays have been Fridaying.
Mm-hmm. Because you know who didn't get killed who got killed in the middle of the week? Nathan. And I didn't see that
Nathan.
coming. I didn't know Nathan was dying. I said, wait, what?
Franco also died in the middle of the week, but that was because the Friday episode was Jason getting arrested for it.
Right.
Another thing we saw coming. We
Right.
were like, obviously, Jason's gonna come in and put his fingerprints all over everything. Be
And
dangling
then
over his freaking body when Liz shows up.
Liz ain't loyal. So
Liz. I love it when she's disloyal to Jason. It makes me laugh.
love it. Are you ready for previews for next week?
Yes.
So first of all, I'm gonna do these previews. I got them. I don't even know where I got them, so they might be wrong. Don't blame me. Because I usually get them from tvguide.com and they're not up yet, so I don't know what's going on there. And that's one. And two, make sure that after you listen to this, you also listen to Port Misery.
It's not up yet because I haven't recorded it yet, but it will be.
Probably by the time this is uploaded and people get to this point in the show, it'll be up. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. I believe in myself.
Okay. Monday. Ned is irritated with Michael and Drew. Blaze invites Christina to her recording session. Oh, that's right. Jocelyn helps Adam. Alexis counsels Finn. Carly makes a decision.
Okay.
Tuesday. Anna is heartbroken. Sunny confronts Cyrus. Nina tries to get the truth from Charlotte. Curtis tells Jordan about his revelation. Wednesday. Anna and Valentin have a confrontation. I hope she slaps him again. Sunny has an offer for Sasha. Better be you just putting money in her account. Dante discovers a lead in Anna's case.
That just became a WSB case all of a sudden. Like, what?
Jordan asks for Laura's help. Obviously, next week is Thanksgiving, so we have Thanksgiving. Then Gloria arrives at the Quartermains. Robert has a surprise for Anna. Valentin gently confronts Charlotte. So, not parenting is what we're saying.
Is it being preempted Thursday and Friday?
It looks like just Thursday, but I don't know.
Okay. It's usually both because like ABC don't be caring about that. Like Days will put days on Thanksgiving. They'll be like, yeah, you're home. You can watch this.
And it's on Peacock, so it's on every day.
Yeah, who knows what's happening next week? Those are so big.
Yeah, I think Ned is about to be mad at Michael and Drew about the proposed merger.
I hope he comes in while they're talking mad shit about Eddie Main. Like, yeah, we gonna steal this company from that Frito smelling bum.
I hope so
Fuck
too.
Valentin.
I hope so too. Well, again, Tara, thank you for your time. It's always a blast when you come by. Make sure to like, subscribe, all the things. And other than that, we will see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.